Well, we've established two things unequivocally. Number one, you're not going to remember a word of what I have to say to you. And number two, Morty and I should have gotten together and built ourselves a podium, a much smaller podium. President Shapiro, Dean Mangelsdorf, Trustee Harris, Associate Deans, distinguished faculty, family, friends, and most importantly, soon-to-be fellow alumni who are the reason we are here today. Look around you. Bask in the proud glow radiating from those who have gathered in your honor. Now you give them a round of applause for the love, support, and encouragement that have brought us to this celebration. That's enough. We don't want it to go to their heads. For you graduates, today is the culmination of 4 years of hard work. Okay, some of you are getting out of here of 3. A few of you may not have worked that hard. But most of the people you've just saluted have an investment in you that spans more than 2 decades. So basic, so fundamental has been their belief in you that it often went unnoticed by you. They've been there at times when you needed them most. They've been there at times when you wished they were somewhere else, anywhere else. And they'll be there long after this day ends. Life is not a solo mission for any of us, which takes us to the topic I'd like to discuss briefly today. I say briefly because I'm mindful of Mark Twain's admonition that few souls are saved after the first 20 minutes of a sermon. So I'll finish in 8. In his generous introduction, Brian omitted the one credential of which I am perhaps the proudest. I coached all of my son's Little League and daughter's softball teams, more than 25 in all. I mention that because there's much wisdom to be found in the heritage of our national pastime. Yeah, let's hear it for baseball. Ignore the Cubs folder, right? There is much wisdom in the heritage of our national pastime, and over the years, no one has expressed it more elegantly than a man whose formal schooling ended at 8th grade, Yogi Berra. You may have seen the great New York Yankees catchers of the 1940s, 50s, and 60s in a recent television commercial where his baffling remarks during a haircut bewilder his barber and daze the Aflac duck. This morning I offer 3 insights based on Yogi's unwittingly profound philosophy of journeys, as today we mark an important milestone in yours. Yogi insight number 1. You've got to be careful when you don't know where you're going because you might not get there. Goals are important. You've all had them or you couldn't be sitting here today. But even goals adopted with supreme confidence can evolve. You've already experienced the phenomenon. Maybe fortuity exerted itself in some unforeseen way. Maybe what once excited you failed to sustain your interest. Maybe you exercised critical thinking skills as you honed them at this institution, reconsidered what you thought you wanted in life, and paused. Maybe, just maybe, you even changed majors. That's okay. It's more than okay. It's good. It's life. For the thoughtfully aware, the process never ends. At times when you become uncertain about your ambitions, remember that you have the intelligence, talent, and drive to determine your own destinies. It won't always feel that way. In rough economic conditions like these, you may even wonder why you spent all the time, effort, and money getting the degrees you'll be receiving in a few minutes. And as an aside, and on behalf of my entire baby boomer generation, I apologize for the mess we've created on what should be your launching pad. At least we've given you the wherewithal to remake the world. If you entered this institution as apprentice carpenters with a crude hammer and a single nail, you leave as skilled artisans with a workshop of power tools. Use them. Your time here will continue to reward you in unforeseen ways. Every wonderful thing that happened in my life, from encountering the girl who eventually became my wife of 30 plus years and counting, to meeting mentors who eventually guided me toward great opportunities, to standing before you today, to whatever is next, all of that began on our campus. Northwestern is a gateway. It was for me, and it will be for you. But you will make the decisions that write your own stories, which takes me to Yogi's second gem from the diamond. When you get to the fork in the road, take it. Growing up, you heard well-intentioned words of encouragement. Work hard, get good grades, involve yourself in other activities. All of that will give you options later. And you did, to great success. But now you've arrived at a great big later. That is scary. Why? Because the path ahead is murky, especially compared to those you've taken so far. Once upon a time, you all knew that second grade would lead to third and that high school would lead to college. But now what? Some of you are confident about your next steps. More of you aren't. Even the most sure-footed among you should have doubts. After all, foresight and foreboding are special burdens for the perceptive and gifted. Your transition from high school to college was tough. The transition that you're experiencing now is tougher because there's no obvious route to follow. Even traditional tracks that offered comfortable security a few years ago seem more troubling. Do not fear the future. Embrace it. Do not shrink from a difficult decision. Make it. Do not dwell on a blunder. Use it. Mistakes and adversity knock all of us to the ground from time to time. The test of character is the vigor with which we get back up again and again and again. You'll get lots of things wrong. You'll get far more right. You'll survive and you'll thrive. Neither of my parents graduated from college. My father was always the first to confess that he made many errors in his life, the worst when he was about your age. And let me tell you, some were, to use his ancient word, doozies. But he spoke openly about his missteps. Today we would say he used them as teaching moments. Go ahead and make mistakes, he'd say, but be original. Make your own mistakes, don't make mine. To that I would add a crucial corollary. Seeking help when you need it is never a sign of weakness. It's proof of strength. Which takes me to Yogi's final gem for the day. It's the story of his drive to Cooperstown for induction into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Yogi was behind the wheel, and he got lost. With their 3 kids in the back seat, his wife finally spoke up. Yogi, she said, we're lost. He fussed for a while and then answered, yeah, I know, but we're making great time. Making great time. That could be the mantra for your generation. In an era when everything happens instantaneously, warp speed is technology's greatest gift and most challenging curse. It has intensified the pressures that most of you have felt since early childhood. Respites for personal reflection are a forgotten casualty. It's not very useful to make great time if you're lost, or worse, heading obliviously in a wrong direction because you haven't paused to consider what you want your life's most important destinations to be. The truth is much different from what some of us may have led you to believe in the whirlwind that has taken you to this moment. The truth is that you have a lot more time than you think. Be patient with yourselves as you become the architects of your own lives. When you worry about where you're going, never lose sight of how far you've already come. And remember, too, those people you were applauding moments ago. Soon it will be their turn to applaud you. They're still there for you. They still believe in you. Their gift endures in the deepest recesses of your psyche. Once in a while, dig down, pull it out, examine it, appreciate it, cherish it. In the really tough times, when you're ready to give up, add it to the crucible containing the unambiguous achievements embodied in the degrees you are receiving today. Let that powerful concoction create the confidence that Yogi was talking about when he offered what I now use as my exit line. 90% of the game is mental. The other half is physical. Now go make the world a better place.